What would you say to those who are questioning your ethnicity?
Those who are questioning, or those who are just reading the article? I mean, because so the article, I feel like the article is what's questioning, and really it's Larry and Ruth Ann who are questioning. And so what I say to them is, I don't give two what you guys think. Like you're so far done and out of my life.
The president of the NAACP, who we think is a black woman who says she is the victim of hate crimes, might not be black. That seems like a misrepresentation.
I can understand that. I mean, like I said, it's more important for me to clarify that with the black community and with my executive board than it really is to explain it to a community that I quite frankly don't think, really understands the definitions of race and ethnicity.
Do you think anyone within the Spokane NAACP is unclear about your identity?
I'm not sure.
Would you identify yourself as an African American?
I actually don't like the term African American. I prefer black. And I would say that if I was asked, I would definitely say that yes, I do consider myself to be black.
If they're saying you're not black, what would you say in response?
Whatever they say really, I wish could say doesn't affect me at all. Unfortunately, people might listen to them or give them a platform that they don't deserve. But I don't have anything to say to them.
Well, Rachel Dolezal's parents, who are both white, say they simply want people to know the truth. That's why they're speaking out. They say their daughter is pretending to be someone that she's not.
What is your daughter's ethnicity?
Our daughter is primarily German and Czech, and of European descent.
So she's white.
Caucasian. She's white. Mm-hmm.
A shocking revelation from the parents of Spokane NAACP President Rachel Dolezal. Larry and Ruth Ann Dolezal live here in this rural home outside Troy, Montana. They say it's the same home where Rachel was born nearly 40 years ago.
So she's a blonde, blue-eyed, freckle-faced girl growing up.
But as you can see, that's clearly changed. Dolezal has reportedly told media outlets that she's part African American and has biracial parents. Ruth Ann and Larry say that's far from true.
Rachel has wanted to be someone she's not. She's chosen not to just be herself, but to represent herself as an African American woman or a biracial person.
So how did this Rachel Dolezal become this Rachel Dolezal? Her parents say she's always identified with African American culture and art. She actually had some black siblings who were adopted. They started noticing some changes around 2004 when she divorced her husband. Rachel began to look different.
Yes, Rachel is a master artist, and so she's able to disguise herself and make her appearance look like any ethnicity.
As for an apparent change in her skin color, her parents say they're not sure what has happened. What's more important is that they say she's deceiving people.
She could accomplish the work that she set out to do in the beginning by being herself and being a white woman who's an advocate for the African American.
And Dolezal's parents say that Rachel has distanced herself from them. She's made it clear that she doesn't want her parents to be involved in her life in any way. They say they still love her as a daughter, though. They also add that while they've known about this for some time, they haven't been trying to hide anything. They simply didn't talk about it until this week when they were approached by a reporter with the Coeur d'Alene Press, the ones who first broke this story. In Troy, Montana, Taylor Vito, KREM 2 News.
When we sat down with Rachel Dolezal on Thursday, no one knew the attention her story would get. No one could predict what the reaction would be. Do you worry that this is becoming too much of a distraction?
Well, it's only been 24 hours.
But 24 hours later, her story is a topic trending around the world. Before it became a global discussion, she stood clear on what may need to happen next.
We all have a position to play. I continue to, be committed to playing my position.
But as an instructor at Eastern Washington University, the president of the Spokane chapter of the NAACP, and a member of the Police Ombudsman Commission, it may be challenging for anyone to continue with all of those roles in this community. And how will you try to move forward with all three of those responsibilities, given the attention you've had to deal with?
Like I said, I guess what's most important to me is maintaining the integrity of the work.
Tonight, the university says it's respecting her privacy. The national NAACP is standing by her, and the city of Spokane can't say if she's done anything wrong. But Dolezal says it's essential she doesn't take away from what any one or all three of those positions stand for.
If at any point the NAACP executive board or wanted me to resign or didn't, felt like I was a liability to the cause or anything like that, it's not about me. Ultimately, the cause is justice for the community.
Up until Monday, this was Rachel Dolezal's biography on Eastern Washington University's website. That bio said she holds a master's degree from Howard University. At Eastern, she taught classes like the Black woman's struggle and African American culture. But an Eastern spokesman says that bio has now been removed. That's for two reasons. First, the school says there was a misrepresentation on the bio because Dolezal was listed as a professor. Eastern has emphasized that Dolezal was instead a part-time instructor. She was hired on a quarter-by-quarter basis. Her current contract expired as scheduled last Friday. That's the second reason why Eastern took her bio down. The expiration was in line with the end of the school year.
NAACP President Rachel Dolezal says she's received hate mail at least 3 times this year. The first came in January, shortly after she became president of the organization. The second was received in February, and a third letter came just last month. In February, police say Dolezal checked the P.O. box for the NAACP at this post office and discovered a 12-page letter that contained graphic photos similar to the ones she received in May. According to the police report, the envelope had no USPS date stamp or barcode, and instead of a return address, the words War Pig were written just like on the letter she received in January. In the police report, Dolezal told police she thought the letter had been hand-delivered to the post office because it didn't have a date stamp on it. However, several post office employees told me that even a hand-delivered letter would normally have a date stamp. A postal worker told police that, quote, letters are never placed into P.O. boxes without the date stamp and barcode. Is there a scenario where a piece of mail could end up in a P.O. box without a barcode of some sort?
Well, certainly. Our system isn't perfect, and every once in a while an envelope will maybe get stuck to an envelope next to it so that it doesn't get the barcode and the postmarking.
However, having an envelope with no markings from the post office on it is something that doesn't happen very often.
When police say that someone had to have a key to access the mailbox and put that letter in, what do you say?
Well, I say that doesn't make sense to me because mail doesn't get in your post office box just if you have a key.
So the suggestion that someone involved with the NAACP or someone else might have put that there, you think is false?
Absolutely. And I think that also because the other 2 pieces of mail were mailed from Oakland, California. And I don't know anybody in the Spokane NAACP that knows anybody in Oakland, California.
Do you even know anyone in Oakland?
I don't.
What are your concerns about the fact that these have popped up wherever you go?
Well, they really started with my work with the Human Rights Education Institute. And so they seem to be more frequent when I'm involved with human rights or civil rights work.
What would you say to those people who are a little skeptical as to why this is only happening to you wherever you go and maybe not others from that community or other leaders of the organization that have been in this area?
Well, I don't think that it's only happened to me. I mean, there's Bill Wasmuth back in North Idaho, there's a bomb, there are crosses burned in people's yards. This type of harassment has a long history.
Do you think there was ever a time where maybe you overreacted or misinterpreted what was happening?
Nothing comes to mind as far as an overreaction. I would definitely say it's fair game to wonder if I misinterpreted something. Especially when it comes to my kids, I don't think anything's an overreaction.
Rachel Dolezal became the president of the Spokane NAACP chapter in January. And since she's been in office, she's reported multiple incidents where she says she's received racially motivated threats. So when I sat down with former NAACP President James Wilburn, I asked him if he faced the same problems while he served as the president. Did you ever receive hate mail?
We did. We got a hit on our website back when there were two young men who were accused of murdering an 88-year-old gentleman. I didn't make a big deal of it. I mean, you know, stuff happens.
Do you think she's made a bigger deal of some of that stuff?
I don't know. I don't know. You know, it's up to the individual how they take things and process things.
Dolezal's ethnic background has also been called into question, but the NAACP says race is not a requirement for serving as president. Does her ethnic background have any weight? Does this change anything to hear things about her background?
No, it does say the National Association for the Advancement of Colored People, but when you look at Spokane County is like 1.9% African American.
Did she misrepresent who she was?
I don't know. I only know what the media says, and it's best to let the investigation play out, because not everything you hear is what it is.
Moving forward, Wilburn hopes this doesn't impact the credibility of an organization that's worked so hard to establish relationships with the city of Spokane and implement programs with the police department and Spokane public schools.
I'm doing what I can to not let it hinder or hurt the organization. The organization is good. It's the oldest, boldest, biggest, baddest civil rights organization in the history of this nation.
The removal of ombudsman commissioners as the city council, the duty of the city council.
City Council President Ben Stuckert said Spokane NAACP President Rachel Dolezal did check multiple boxes on her application to the Police Ombudsman Commission. Those include black as well as white and Native American, plus others. A direct contradiction to her racial background, according to her parents.
Our daughter is primarily German and Czech, and of European descent.
He says the council is reviewing all of the applications of the commission members as well as of the legal documents they signed. We asked him whether he'd noticed any problems with Dolezal's leadership of the commission before now, and he said no.
Is it unethical for her to be at the leadership of this committee?
No, I don't think her in and of itself being on the committee is unethical. I don't think there's good things never happen when you lie. So if the allegations are found to be true, then there's a next step to be taken.
He says he talked to every member on the council about Dolezal, but they haven't yet discussed it together as a group. He expects to finish the investigation by Monday. At that point, they'll decide on the next course of action for Dolezal's position.
The city says she did check 4 boxes on the application, including black African American, white, Native American Alaska Native, and 2 or more races. Dolezal told us she wants to keep her integrity intact. Her priority is to the community she has worked to represent.
It is important to me that I maintain trust with the people that are actually in the movement. And that's why it's important for me to talk to them first.
Dolezal was selected by the mayor, and city staff say race was part of why they chose her. But it wasn't the determining factor in picking her for the panel. Given what's out there now, do you think they might have changed their decision in appointing her to that board?
It certainly could have been a consideration at that point. Rachel Dolezal's adopted brother says he hasn't spoken with his sister for about 3 years now. He described her as distancing herself from her family and being embarrassed of her upbringing.
She's like trying to say people raised her through her entire life, even though she grew up a white, privileged person up in Montana.
It's that supposed background that has Spokane NAACP President Rachel Dolezal surrounded in controversy. She's under investigation over claims that she lied about her ethnicity. On Sunday, we spoke over the phone with Ezra Dolezal, one of Rachel's adopted brothers. He told us that the last time he saw her was in Coeur d'Alene in 2012. He claims that she made it clear to keep her background under wraps.
I mean, she basically just took me aside and just told me not to blow her cover, not to actually not to let anybody know that she was like about Montana or any of that.
Ezra says that Rachel was also trying to pass off an African-American man as her father. He also made allegations that Rachel tried to turn another one of his brothers against his parents. Larry and Ruth Ann Dolezal confirmed that Rachel served them with papers asking that she take over guardianship of Isaiah Dolezal. The parents told me they complied with that. They've since heard that Rachel has claimed that Isaiah is actually her son. Ezra says her antics don't surprise him at all. As for her appearance, Ezra was blunt in saying that it's all a disguise.
But like none of the other members of the family can actually tan that dark, so I'm pretty sure, 100% sure that she has been using makeup or spray on tan.
And we did reach out to Rachel Dolezal regarding the cancellation and if she'll be making any kind of public statement anytime soon. She did not comment on that. Meanwhile, Spokane City Council President Ben Stuckert tells us that a report on Dolezal's behavior within the Police Ombudsman Commission is due by the end of the week. That's a separate investigation as city officials also look into whether she lied on an application. In the newsroom, Taylor Vito, KREM 2 News.
So I'm Rachel Dolezal, president of the Spokane NAACP.
For the last few weeks, the Spokane NAACP chapter has been participating in a national movement called Moral Mondays.
So people have asked, why Moral Mondays Northwest? We're bringing Moral Mondays Northwest to Spokane and to the Inland Northwest to really bring the work of the growing NAACP committees into public view.
It's a 5-week series that focuses on justice issues facing Spokane. Dolezal can be seen speaking in several of the videos. In one, she addresses receiving threats.
And we've had, different members in the NAACP and leaders in the NAACP, as well as myself, have received death threats, hate crimes, various forms of intimidation.
In another, Dolezal refers to herself as being part of an ethnic group.
Also having the idea of citizenship in terms of character being questioned and criminality being associated with our people.
That video is a contrast to how Dolezal responded to questions about her ethnicity this week. When asked if she was African American, she did not give a straight answer. Today, I asked the former NAACP president about Dolezal's race.
Did people think she was African American?
I don't know. You can only go by what she say. My experience in Spokane, I've been here 8 years. In my experience here, I've never seen as many interracial relationships and biracial children, and so it's possible.
On Monday, the local NAACP chapter will meet for the first time after the news went viral that its president, Rachel Dolezal, may have been misrepresenting her racial background. But outside of that meeting, already organizers are planning to protest.
And you lied just to get close to me? Yes, I feel betrayed.
Katara Johnson is a member of the Spokane NAACP chapter. She says hearing Rachel Dolezal's response to the allegations of her lying about her race has been painful.
How can you not back integrity and sweep all this under the rug without an apology, without an acknowledgement that people were hurt?
After she saw the national NAACP issue a statement backing Dolezal's advocacy record, she decided to take action.
And we will stand hand in hand for the greater good of the truth.
She's calling for Dolezal to take a leave of absence until an investigation is complete. In just one day, her online petition has gotten more than 60 signatures. Many people who endorsed it will join her on Monday outside the local chapter's meeting.
This is not about race. This is about integrity.
But Johnson says shortly after organizing this petition, she got this notification on her phone, showing her the meeting would be canceled. KREM 2 News reached out to Rachel Dolezal to ask if the chapter had disinvited Johnson to the meeting, but Dolezal told us that was not the case and that someone had hacked into the organization's system and has been disinviting members.
Really?
Yes, because my career was fine art.
Yeah.
And